welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to do this alpha start with the teardrop loop into the triangle. So let's get started. I need base strings for my alpha pattern, and I bought this big roll of thread rather than having to use my little parts of it. It's a little bit thicker than the normal string, but since it's a base string, it doesn't really matter because we'll be going over it with our regular string later. The pattern that I'm going to do has 18 base strings. So what I'm doing here is I'm pulling out 9 strings and then I'm going to fold those in half, so then total I will have 18. You don't have to make them too long, just a little bit longer than what your pattern is going to be. To find out how many base strings you are, you look at your pattern and then that highlighted area, you count how many of those there are, and that's how many base strings you have. So this is me cutting out my strings. I'm going to do 8 more so that I'll have 9 total. And then when I fold them in half, like I said, I will have 18. Next thing I'm going to do is line up those ends so it's all even, and then go to the center point on the other side, and we're going to tape this down. Now that I have that taped down, I'm going to get another strand of this white string. I'm going to make it about the same length as the ones that I already have. It doesn't super matter the length, but this is what we're going to be using as our leading string when making the teardrop loop. So as you can see, I'm putting it not in the same group as the tape because those are my base strings and I don't want to confuse them. So just lining it up, and then I'm going to use a separate piece of tape to keep it in line with these. For this whole teardrop loop, we're going to be repeating the same knot over and over again. So starting off, I'm going to take my string and I'm going to do a backward knot. So I'm going to take it, and it's on the right side right now, so it's going to go over the left and then under, back through that, and pull up. And then I'm just going to keep repeating this over and over again, so just keep going with these backward knots. I'd also like to mention this is only half of it, so we're not going to do the full thing. This is just one half of it. So I'm going to go until about that long, and then I like to test it and kind of see where I'm at, so I can kind of take the bracelet and then move it with that, like my fingers. So I think that's about good for half. I'm going to take this tape off and we'll switch it to the other side to do the other half. Now that I got the tape down on the other side, we're going to take that same leading string that's not a part of the main group, and we're going to do forward knots. So the string's going to go across to the right and then back up through the hole. And just going to repeat this, same as the other side, just repeat it over and over again until you get a good length. A good length depends on what kind of bracelet you're making. So the bigger the bracelet, it's going to be wider, and so you're going to need to do more on this teardrop loop. But if you have a smaller bracelet, you're going to have to do as much because it won't be as wide, so you won't need as big of a loop to make it even. After doing my little test there, I'm going to call this length good. So I'm going to take my tape off and make it back into my little teardrop loop. And you can see you kind of have like a little ridge on the edge, and that should be on the outside. And then I'm going to take this loop and tape it down from the center, and we'll start our triangles. I now have my bracelet set up, and as you can see, I have my 2 strings that I added to do my leading strings. Those are kind of out of the bracelet. We're going to be putting them in, but right now what I'm doing is splitting my strings up evenly so I can make my triangle. Now that I'm set up, I have 5 strings on each side. I'm going to grab one from the middle and do a backward knot onto the whole group from the left. And then I'm going to leave that one there, and then I'm going to take another one from the group and do another backward knot. Then I'm going to continue this again, take another one out of the group and do another backward knot. And each time I do it, I'm going to leave that string out of the group. So now I'm down to my final string, and I'll do a backward knot. And that's how you get the nice edge on the left. And then we're going to repeat the same process on the right side. First, I'm going to gather the strings that I know that I haven't used, just because I don't want to reuse any that I already did. And every knot is done twice. and then it'll go towards the center, and we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to grab another one out of the group, do the knot, and then it will be in the center, and we're going to continue this down that right side. I'm going to line up my strings now so I can see how they fall, and they kind of will go how they go, so if you just lay them flat, they will be set up for you. And then I'm going to grab my 2 strings in the center, and I'm going to start off this triangle with a forward knot. Actually, doesn't matter what knot you do as long as you just do one of them. I'm just going to choose to do forward. So there's that knot. I'm going to take the string that I just used along with the one to the left of it and do another knot here. Then I'm going to go back to the other side, take those 2. That's one that I used, and then the one to the right of that one, and do a knot. We're kind of going row by row down right now. Now I have a new 2 center strings, so I'm going to do a knot with those. Then I'm going to use that string that I just used, and then the one to the left of it, and do a knot with those. Then another knot here. Just going to keep going, doing knots. I feel like it might be easier for you to follow the video rather than me try to put it into words, but basically we're just going to keep going down. Now we're going to go to the right side because we have something to do over here. Basically we're filling in this area so that it's a full triangle. And as you can see, we get that triangle look. Then we're going to repeat the same thing on the other side. To do that, I'm going to take my tape off and flip my bracelet around so that I'm set up correctly. And it's just the same thing as we just did. So to start, we're going to do our edges by doing backward knots down, making sure that we do every knot twice, and then once you do a knot, you're going to leave it out of the group and then pick a new one from the group and just continue down that left side. Then we're doing the same thing on the right side. We're going to do the knots all the way down. Then we're going to even it out and find our center strings and do a knot with these. Then, like I did before, I'm going to fill in this triangle. You can do it by going down the edges or row by row, whatever you feel comfortable with. Alright, and this is what my teardrop loop triangle star alpha bracelet turned out. So this is what it looks like, and you're just going to line it up when you start your first row of your alpha and just go across with your first string. But as you know, when we did the teardrop loop, we added an extra string, so my bass strings are off right now. I have 2 extra, so I'm going to pull those out and cut that extra off so that I'm at the correct amount of bass strings. And make sure that you cut the correct ones off. So as you can see, mine are a lot shorter than the rest of my other bass strings, and it'd be bad if I cut the wrong ones because then they might not have enough room. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for this video. Like, comment, subscribe, send it to your friends, and have a great day.